Now, I've also raised a separate question elsewhere that maybe it's not about attachment. Right. Like we always worry about attachment. And I had a great discussion with this with Levita D'Souza, who's a researcher and attachment researcher, where, we point out that if you look at cultures that co-sleep all the time and don't sleep train, 100% of kids are not securely attached. Right? Like attachment is so much bigger. Where I think conversation should be shifted to is what's happening to a child's sense of stress, right? Like what are we doing when you talk about kind of early trauma? And early trauma is a big thing. I'm not saying every child that has endured trauma because it depends on the responsiveness afterward, how supportive, all this other stuff that goes into it. But we raise the risk for trauma with it. And I think with some kids, especially when we talk about orchid children and everything, there's a much higher risk, right? When we see their stress reactions to certain events in studies, when they're supported, they don't show high stress. When they're not supported, i.e. left alone and not in the arms of a caregiver, their stress actually skyrockets. And these are not being left alone in a crib. This is kind of usually often like as minor as getting a shot. Right? Like they're just getting their vaccination, whether they're held by a parent and that's the kind of stress we see this huge effect on. And so I think that's more of the question at play. And there really isn't much at all on that